Alright, once again, welcome to Jack Slayter Notes. And yeah, like, share, and subscribe everything. And yes, so we are doing the sessions of CDP, that is paper 1 2, and of 3 days. So 3 into 2, that is 6 paper. We already did February 7th. Paper 1, Child Development and Pedagogy section, that is 30 question, 30 marks. And today we are going to do February 8th, that is the second day, paper 1. Okay, let's continue. Question number 1. Which of the following is an effective way to reduce the influence of gender stereotypes amongst children prevalent in society? Option 1. Encouraging students to conform to traditional gender roles. No, that is wrong. Providing children with material that are gender specific. Sure. Exposing children to diverse gender roles and encouraging them to pursue their interests. That is the most appropriate answer. So if you want to reduce the influence of gender stereotype, gender stereotype is something where you tell the next generation or kids that that is no man's job, that is no women's job, you have, so that sort of thing. Yes, it's not like women have to be in the kitchen and men have to work their ass off. So yeah, that is the thing. Anyway, we are going to do elaborate in upcoming videos. So the answer has to be 3, exposing children to diverse gender roles. So exposing children to that women are not for the kitchen, they can be astronaut, pilot, or exposing your children to the story of strong independent women and men and all sort of things. Yes. Question number 2. Formative assessment assumes that competition is essential for learning. Not really. Only quantitative parameters give correct feedback. That is true, because assumes that when you have, okay, wait a second, we didn't really read the all the feedbacks. Okay, so the 3 is qualitative parameters are biased and subjective. Learner should also be included in the process of assessment. That is the, so that's what we exemplify here is when you read question and you see like a question, read a question and first two or one or two you get the answer, you think like that is the answer. No, that is the big problem here. We have to read the full question to understand what the question is looking for. Sometimes we rush and we mess up, so that is what we exemplify here. That is why, that is what you all should avoid in the question paper. First, there is 3 steps. First, elimination technique, and read the question properly. Elimination technique, those two are very much helpful in your exam. So learner should also be involved in the process of assessment. That is what formative assessment wants from us. Question number 3, assertion. Teachers should provide a lot of scaffolding to children in the forms of prompts and clues. Yes, of course, a teacher should do that always. John Piaget emphasized that more knowledgeable others plays a significant. Wait a second. John Piaget did not talk about more knowledgeable other or scaffolding. That Vygotsky's theory. So A is true, but R is false. Yes. Question number 4. In inclusive classroom, the curriculum should be flexible and instruction should be differentiated. Yes, the answer is flexible and differentiated. Yes, flexible and differentiated. It should be flexible and differentiated. Question number 5. Test refers to the time of development when an individual is most ready to acquire a new skill or ability and it is difficult to compensate for the loss of this later on in life. So it has to be sensitive period, because sensitive period is the period where a student needs acquire new skills or anything which later in life it's unable to attain. So it's a sensitive period. Question number 6, that's why it's called sensitive period. Question number 6, which principle of development is illustrated in the following statement? During infancy and early childhood, the limbs continue to grow faster than the hands and feet. So it has to be cephalocaudal is centered to the whole body. So it has to be proximodistal principle. Okay, answer is proximity spiritual. Yes. Question number 7. Which of the following hinders the process of effective problem solving? Which of the hinders it's effective problem solving? It's response set, of course, because wait a second. Response analogical thinking, concept mapping. So the answer is response set. Yes, when you get the response set, it's hinder your affecting effective problem solving. Yes. Question number 8. Assertion. Learning is always situated in a social context. Of course, it has to be. What is learned cannot be separated from how it is learned and used. What is learned cannot be separated from how it is learned and used. You can separate, of course. Answer is, wait a second. Learning is always, of course. What is learned cannot be separated from how it is learned and used. What is learned cannot be separated from how it is learned or used. Yes, you cannot really, how it is learned, you can really separate from how it learned and used. Yeah, sure, why not? Both A and true are the correct. Alright, question number 9. Student with mastery goal oriented set realistic learning goals. I goes to impress other, not they have set realistic learning goals. Question number 10. Which of the following is an effective strategy for teaching children with autism? Providing a constant eye contact, not really. Maintaining a predictable routine, yes, that's the answer, because when you maintain a predictable routine with autism spectrum disorder students, it's help them, because unpredictable things make them very boggle. Maintain a predictable routine. Alright. Question number 11. As per Jean Piaget theory of development, children's developed dash by the end of sensory motor stage. Conservation, hypothetical, logical reason, not really. Object performance, that is the only. Yes, by the end of sensory motor they developed the object permanence. So answer is object permanence. Alright. Question number 12. Development of children is synonymous with growth? Not really. Is a simple and unitary process. Maybe unfold in random which does not have any pattern. No, it does have patterns. It's multidimensional and multi-directional. So in children, of course, it is also multidimensional and multidirectional. Question number 13. Creativity needs to be nurtured by presenting practical problems and issues to children for contemplation and reflection. Creative children have the ability to discover something that is novel and need intellectual stimulation. Of course, that is true. So the answer is both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. As per Lev by Gorsky, inner speech help in reasoning and organizing thoughts. That is the answer. It helps in reasoning and organizing thoughts. Sometimes you get the answer at first, but you have to read the whole question. That is the motivation here. In the response to the question, is it alright to steal the chocolate from the freezer in absence of your parents? 4-year-old Mira replied, it will be wrong, because of doing so you can cause punishment. Because doing so can cause punishment for the parent, from the punishment from the parent. Mira's moral reasoning depicts which stage of Lawrence Kohlberg's theory of moral development? It has to be conventional or pre-conventional, that is punishment and reward. So we are going to do the elaborate thing. Good boy, bad boy is conventional, I think, and pre-conventional is punishment and reward. So we have to do the whole. Alright. Question number 16. Which of the following is an example of question that requires student to generate creative solution? What is the definition of noun? That doesn't need any creativity. You can just answer that from memorization or knowledge. How do you identify the subject of a sentence? That too you can do without needing creative solution. You can do that from memories. What are the various types of them? Again from memories. How do you rewrite the given text from the perspective of an object rather than a person? So right, that need creative solution, because if someone tells you write about blackboard, right, from the perspective of desk, not a person but a object, that is desk. Answer is, how would you rewrite the given text from the, of course. Question number 17. Critical thinking in students can be promoted by encouraging questions such as what, how, why, how. Discouraging metacognition? No, encouraging metacognition would be the correct answer. But here, no, you cannot do discourage collaboration or encourage rote rehearsal. The only answer is encourage questions such as what, why, how. That is the answer. Question number 18. Talking aloud to oneself with no intent to communicate with others in common. It's common and normal because you got child around here who just talk to themselves. They don't care if you're asking them or not. So that is totally normal and common in childhood. Yes. Question number 19. According to Piaget, which of the following is an example of assimilation? A child learns a new word for a familiar object. That is an example of sure. A child realizes that a dog and cat are both animals. Not really. Child learns to ride a bicycle. Not really. Child learns to try their shoes for the first time. No, the answer is child learns a new word for a familiar object. That is the answer. Question number 20. Which of the following skill is not actively practiced in the process of reciprocal teaching? Memorizing, because clarifying, predicting, and questioning is the main thing of reciprocal teaching. So memorizing is not. Question number 21. Principle of cephalocodal development talks about dash of development. Multiple dimension, I think. No, orderly sequence already. So the answer is principle of cephalocodal development talks about orderly sequence of development. Alright, that is from center to the outward. We are going to elaborate definition in coming videos. Question number 22. An effective pedagogical strategy is to ask children to make lineage of new information with what they already know. Reason is identify commonalities and differences can help children organize information which helps them to think as well as remember better. Alright, both of them are true. And our reason is the correct explanation. Question number 23. Which of the following are important to ensure meaningful learning? Provision of emotional support. Alright, that is the main thing. You have to ensure that for meaningful learning. An atmosphere of competition. No, that is negative. You cannot want that in a meaningful learning class. Opportunities for doing an experience true standardized. No, so the answer should be 1 and 3. Yes, number 1 has 1 and 3. Number 2, okay, it has also 4. It's not 1 and 3 has number 4. So answer is number 4, 1 and 3. Question number 24. The ability of hand-eye coordination, balance, and manual dexterity is affected in hand and eye concentration. It has to be dyspraxia. Yes, dyspraxia. Question number 25. Extrinsic motivation comes from avoidance of punishment or approval of others, while intrinsic motivation is based on personal satisfaction. So the answer has to be 4, approval of others and personal satisfaction. Question number 26. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is characterized by high level of depression and mood swing. Not really. Ongoing pattern of impulsivity. That is the main character of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Answer is ongoing pattern of impulsivity. Question number 27. According to Vygotsky theory, the zone of proximal development refers to options the level of skill or knowledge a student has already mastered. Not really. Level of skill or knowledge a student is capable of mastering with help. That is your answer. Level of skill or knowledge a student is unlikely. Not really. A level of skill or knowledge a student must master to pass test or receive grade. Answer is 2. The level of skill or knowledge a student is capable of mastering with help. That is scaffolding. Question number 28. Misconceptions among students should be acknowledged. Of course, you have to acknowledge them. And intuitive guesses should be encouraged because in the primary grades it is needed to be encouraged. So whereas the answer is acknowledged and encouraged. Yes, answer 2, acknowledged and encouraged. Yes. Question number 29. Assertion: invented spellings. Free exploration of writing provides teacher with opportunities of authentic assessment of learner level. That is true, when children's do their own thing, free exploration of everything, you have to understand their learning levels, you can understand it. So that is correct, because given the vast language diversity in the classroom, assessment is language should be dynamic. Yes, true. So assessment reasoning you have to do the, because invented spelling, free exploration of writing, provide teachers with opportunities of authentic assessment of learner levels. Because given the vast linguistic diversity in the classroom, assessment in language should be dynamic. Yes, both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Question number 30. Which of the following are example of authentic learning tasks for students in primary grades? Recalling factual information from textbook, authentic learning tasks, copying answer, not really, applying the concept, that is the most authentic in primary grades, when a teacher teaches something and tells them to use that in your daily life. All right, let's talk about like photosynthesis or how a plant grow. If the student or teacher comes in and see how root absorbs water, or closely look at it, or any other theory, osmosis, diffusion, and how the higher concentration gas go to lower concentration, if they apply it to daily life or understand it, or even social studies, or learn empathy or sympathy for others and all those good things, if they apply the concept to daily life, that is the most authentic learning first task for students in primary grades. So the answer is applying the concept to daily life. Alright, thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe to the channel Jack Slayter, and study hard, work smart, and everything. Goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you very much, guys. And we are going to do like the March 1, March 1st, February 1 for CDP next. Thank you.